Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
And the offerer, if there's such a word, as the offerer said on microphone before the media, 100 million, but he is giving 20 million. I guess many people have got the balance of 80, whether he will be giving, whether will be given in one lump sum or in bits. We haven't been told, but yes.
So the taxpayer is contributing to your cash bonanza?
I don't know whether it is from the taxpayer because, but I want to believe so, because these guys in Parliament have placed money for donation to the president, and they did not give him guidelines dictating to him how he should spend. So I want to believe that the president is using part of that donation. And obviously members of Parliament elect from all I know, hard up. Whether it is the right route to take is a different matter, but certainly all of them. And I'm also privy that the president has stretched his hands to beyond the NRM fraternity, to other members of Parliament.
If you were on this other side,
yeah,
an ordinary person, how would you react to this money?
Of course, it would be, first of all, because you are not part of them, you would feel let down, perhaps. You would feel that they are having it good, probably unnecessarily. But if you are part of them, like I am, I'm now beginning to be conditioned by the collective responsibility and interest and the group psyche. Because if you are sitting in the midst of 412 people, how do you condemn them? You may have a different view, but you must.
What's your view?
My view? It's always good if somebody gives you, if a benefactor comes, especially when you have not demanded. It is a good thing.
Is it a bribe or a facilitation?
I think it is a facilitation. Because I think the president, from where he sits, he sees more than we see. Because it was him who said, I know many of you are hard up, and I'm getting information you're beginning to borrow from money lenders, from banks, and so on. And we are going for swearing in. And you are asking me about the suit. Yes, I am going to swear in a suit donated by one of my daughters. So how about after swearing in? Will I come in another suit? Or do I need a good suit after swearing in? You know, the rules of Parliament, I may need the good things. So I think from where the president sits, where many of us are not, or generally our leaders, I'm beginning to see, by the way, today alone, 2 of my elders' committees invited me for, they're saying their circle, their saving group is meeting on Saturday, and they're inviting me, their AGM, they were inviting me to be their guest of honor.
Already?
Yes. I have 2 elders who each need 8 million for surgery for prostate. And they have sent me.
Oh, I thought you better than that.
No.
An MP is not an ATM machine.
No. First of all, what is our social setup? When people see you are at an advantage, I now begin to see if you are an MP or people who are 75 or even children, and a mother from your constituency comes and says, my child needs operation, do you just send them away? Do you tell them there's a government? Sometimes you find it difficult. I'm saying the things I've received, not that I have done, but I'm saying they have sent me. Somebody says, our elder, maybe the chairperson or secretary, needs surgery and needs 8 million.
Is this the premise on which you're starting the 12th Parliament? Where you're draining the coffers?
No, this one now, I'm expected now if, for example, like the case of the elders, I cannot appeal to anybody because I don't know no one in the medical board. So that immediate support I'm expected to get from my income. That's how hard things are.
Honorable Dombo.
And I think that's across the board, really.
Much of the coverage, what has captured the headlines about Chankwanzi was about MPs making their personal cases, and finally the president coming out to rescue with 100 million, plus MPs feasting and dancing. What else was worth the headline from Chankwanzi?
Simon, this retreat took a whole 8 days. It was officially opened up by His Excellency the President and was officially closed by His Excellency the President. We received very prominent personalities, including from across the region, because we had the whole Secretary General from the neighboring Kenya, who came and addressed the members about the benefits of integration. And he gave a very moving speech. We had very prominent personalities in the economics. We had the speaker. But one of the major important things that was discussed in that retreat is, apart from the induction, was how to lift Uganda's economy from a 68 billion economy to a 500 billion economy in a period of 5 years. It's a very ambitious program. Very ambitious program. But when you see that ambition and the plans that have been identified, which was intended to bring the members of parliament on board, so that when they go to parliament, they prioritize the issues government wants to prioritize in order to enhance the growth of the economy, so that we can beat unemployment, so that we can increase on our revenue, so that we can also improve on the quality of goods that we export out of the country, and we reduce the cost of business. I think that is something that members of parliament should go back and go and understudy, so that every time they are called upon when they're in parliament, to ensure that they facilitate the economy to move at that trajectory. That is something that was very important in this meeting. But also, to me, as a part of the public servant of NRM, it was interesting to meet many members for the first time in a gathering of that nature and assessing their personal depth in matters of the economy, matters of the budget, matters of governance. And for sure, I want to assure you that starting immediately they take their oath. I've been looking around for members to recommend to come to the media, to come and defend positions of the party, to come and represent us in many discussions. I was able to identify very many members of the NRM.
In summary, what made Chankwanzi worthwhile for an ordinary Ugandan, besides the overambitious pronouncements?
To have leaders coming together and appreciating what the priorities of government are. Because, Simon, you know, we are getting members of parliament coming to parliament where they have personal challenges as individuals in their constituencies, like you saw them, but also they are coming to a parliament which has limited resources and must prioritize the allocation of that money according to the needs of the country. Somebody must understand why he must sit and say, for now, we must vote money for Bunyoro oil roads and put in a Gongera road aside, so that next year, when we begin selling oil, we can generate more money for us to do Nagongera and other roads.
Well, Honorable Akena, what's your good, bad, and ugly of Chankwanzi?
let me start from what has been said here. As a Ugandan who is hoping for a great Uganda, what I've heard from my colleagues of NRM has hurt my confidence. The honorable elect here is looking for, he's talking about 8 million. One person was prostate, another one was prostate. What happens to the old man in Nagongera? What happens to any Ugandan, old man, any corner of Uganda? We just say, sorry, time up. We don't have a functional health system. We don't. And instead of money and proper plans on developing a health system, we spend money on politics or politicians. That's the reality of what we face. And we've fought it in Parliament. We struggle. More MPs are buying ambulances. This whole group you're going to fight, maybe 3/4 of them already had an ambulance during the campaign. Is it? In many cases, they feel bad, but in many, the reality is, why is it in Uganda that are politicians who's not supposed to be dealing with that one? That is the order of the day. It points that there is dysfunction in the system. And life is difficult. All of us, 100% of us, maybe there's this 0.0, maybe Enoch and Elijah, all of us are going to die. But at least let's make our lives comfortable as much as possible before we reach there. In Uganda, these ailments, prostate, you're dead. You're dead. Many of these diseases, you just wait to die. Families will just give up. We don't have a system which functions. Did they talk about fixing that system? They talk about the economy. But which plan of NRM? And here, let them tell me which major plan has worked. Starting with the Tandikwa.
Yeah, but you've had the ambitious plan
yes,
that Honorable Dombo has labored to bring out.
My question is, which one of theirs has worked from a Tandikwa? PDM has worked where people are looking for affordable credit. And the pictures which they're showing us during campaign, where you found somebody doing an enterprise, found affordable credit, they're able to grow. The rest they're going to be chasing around. The former people who used to run for poll tax, you're now going to be looking for them for this 1 million. You're not, I don't know what case you're going to create, but that is a different story. But surely, this is supposed to guide the nation. And I'm seeing lamentations about health services. Are you people here to save the country or to fleece the country? And the truth is, the president said he has killed these animals. These are now coming to feast on it. Next generation is saying that this is ours to eat. Where's the spirit of Uganda? I don't see it in NRM. I didn't see it in the retreat. So I wonder what lies ahead. But the truth of the matter, on this area, and this is where I am pained. The Uganda health system, which was built in the 60s, from beginning with the medical school, it started on a perfect note that people who qualified from the medical school anywhere in the world were well recognized. We had a wonderful health system and was not built by people from Mars. It was built by Ugandans.
Okay, if I took you back to the main theme, the main objective behind this retreat, it was for cohesion and directing NRM incoming MPs on the NRM legislative agenda. Did it attain anything?
I didn't follow. The honest truth is I'm not following Chankwanzi, because what I expect is more of the same. And I don't expect things to work. There are things which I can see in the pipeline which do not augur well for those of us who hope for Uganda which works. And at least from my side, I'll be doing everything in my ability to make it as difficult for them to, whatever the result. I have to do what must be.
Again, Honorable Akena, before I shift to Honorable Siwabulijjo, our fly on the wall told us that there's a group of members of UPC who made it to Chankwanzi and had a private meeting with His Excellency. Are you aware of this?
No, but there are rumors circulating around. At least there's one who I'm very sure of having an arrangement, but we'll deal with it as it comes up.
You've heard of it?
There's one I know definitely who has an arrangement.
Could this be paving way for another cooperation that you're not aware of?
Okay. The cooperation will not be with the party. As you said, if somebody had a private meeting, it's a private meeting. When we released 2 of our members to join cabinet, we met as the UPC cabinet, we discussed it, we resolved, and we went ahead. In this particular case, we have not discussed any arrangement. And what occurred leading up to this election, the way UPC was injured by being denied an opportunity to present like a realistic health manifesto, which the Ofonos and team have no idea about, to the people of Uganda, we have injured. Some of us are still injured. So how any relationship will be, it has to be based on what works for the people of Uganda. I'm not interested in any of this nonsense of theirs, but they're not capable.
So did your marriage with NRM collapse?
I don't know of any marriage.
Did your cooperation with the NRM
Was there a wedding which I missed? I'm not aware of any marriage.
A marriage doesn't have to have a wedding accompanying it.
Oh, there's no. Okay, let me put it this way. let me put it this way. People want to trivialize things which are very serious. The time we started engaging, or at least on my side, started engaging President Museveni was during the peace process. And during the peace process, we needed disengagement. If you think about difficulties, during the campaign of 2006, I went to Lira Regional Referral Hospital. It wasn't then called Regional Referral Hospital. I went there. We had 2.5 wards of malnourished kids in Uganda. What messed me more was this star, Angelique Kidjo, was a UN ambassador, had come touring, and I'm there in this ward in Lira, and you have 2.5 wards of malnourished kids in Uganda, and the places where it should never happen. They're there in Lira. That was Lira, 2006. So 2005, 2006, we needed disengagement, we needed peace. And it's what took us, some of us, to the bush to meet Cohen and also to Museveni to get this peace.
And you surrendered too.
I didn't surrender anything. I've never surrendered. What we agreed was some level of cooperation. And for me, what I've seen which I've achieved.
Did your cooperation with NRM cease?
When the principle of NRM, but this is something which will maybe discussed on some other level, but denies or plays a role in denying UPC an opportunity to present. I was comfortable coming third. I knew I had a podium. In racing, podium is great. We fight for podium.
In simple terms, do you still have any relationship with the NRM or any cooperation of any sort?
At this moment, you can say the cooperation exists in the sense that there is still a cabinet member, but that ends with this term.
Noted. Honorable Siwabulijjo, what are your big takeaways from the Chankwanzi Summit retreat?
The Chankwanzi, the previous ones, were social gatherings, people bonding and trying to get together, and as Dombo said, to try to understand each other and how they will work. But at the very beginning of Parliament, Mr. Museveni meets his troops. He will meet all of them either in Chankwanzi And then he will begin meeting either district by district. There was time he was meeting younger MPs 10-10. That time he had camped in Tungamo. Because many of them, all his contemporaries, I think the only ones who have come back to Parliament is Chiyonga.
Tumukunde.
Tumukunde is both. He's contemporary, but younger. But people of his age is Chiyonga, Professor Kamuntu. The Rugundas have gone. So he needs to understand the new team and how to work with it. And he does that at the very beginning of the term. And I think Chankwanzi was more about that. Cohesion, not so much. Understanding the NRM agenda, not so much. And it isn't a bad thing for you if you have a group to go and meet and socialize and you understand them. Often upon we will. Parliament is a very difficult place. This afternoon, we are discussing the budget. The preliminary discussions, the committee is presenting reports. In the road sector, I think 2-point-something trillion has been provided. The last time Katumba Wamala made a presentation, the areas, the money we owed to contractors was more than 5 trillion. And some of them had even abandoned sites. We spent nearly 3 hours. But this afternoon, MPs were opening the debate as if it has never happened. Each MP, and I told them, and they were very angry with me, I told them, Tamaka roads cannot be for grazing. If you read reports of World Bank and IMF, the return on public investment, especially roads, the world average, the return is 6%. In Uganda, it is 0.08%. Because of the choices that we make. You have more than 80% of the vehicles in Kampala metropolitan, there are no roads. You go to areas where there is no economic activity, where there are no vehicles, they have roads. And that's a debate you will have. Even those who are in Chankwanzi, the one you said they are trying to understand, they were in Parliament. I want a road here, I want Tamaka. Ours should be paved. Because essentially you are dealing with people whose levels of depth is councillorship of sub-counties. The point Dombo made, they will not understand it. They have messed up everything. I was a journalist in Parliament when that Parliament took over scholarship for university, and they said we should spread them equally. But they were also, you see, they were changing nothing. I came from a village. I qualified in Masaka, qualified for a scholarship. Not because I come from Masaka, because they put up a cut-off point and I got there. They said, no, now everybody should get. You spread them, Karamoja gets 10, Kabera Maido gets 10, even roads. So the return on public investment in Uganda is 0.08%. The world average is 6%. So even if you continue pumping money into the roads, as long as you don't choose the right roads, more than 80% of the vehicles are here. More than 80% of revenue is from here. But because you want votes from everybody, so Domo, the points you make that MPs will understand why you are doing Bunyoro roads, you have to go to Chankwanzi every week to get them to understand. They think that the little is there, you just spread for everybody to eat. The way Museveni does it.
Did you in the first place follow what was?
I was following through the media, and I saw, but sometimes in the media it's very difficult to follow each and everything. Like the presentations, I didn't see many of them. The media was speaking the usual things, but I don't know who the people speaking there. I saw Mao complaining he had been removed from the list. Mwenda had been removed. I don't know why the Dombos were removing them. At one time, I nearly filed an application to go and speak to them. I said, why don't I, since they have gathered here, 400 people, why don't I file an application to go and speak to them and make a presentation? Because it's very annoying. It's very annoying that you turn parliament into a council, a district council meeting, where people are demanding from Abash to go and roof a nursery school. And that's the quality of leaders and debate that we have. So Chankwanzi served its purpose, that Mr. Museveni and the NRM infrastructure will want to gather all their new recruits, understand them who they are, and then take them through Mchaka, teach them how to shoot, and then release them to the world.
What's your take on the 100 million cash bonds per MP?
First of all, you must understand the imperial nature of Museveni. He looks at the country as his estate. Ofono wants to rationalize that this money is in the budget. You can't have money you are giving every day. How much money? In the budget he has
donations.
It's 130. But every day Museveni is donating money, whether you are TikTokers, whether you are, the other day was even giving prostitutes in Mbale. So every group that will cross his path, there will be money to carry. That's the biggest job he's doing, renting support. If you correct some people, some musicians, you go there, he will give you. If you take witch doctors, he will give you. That's the biggest job that Museveni is doing. The only difference is that now he's doing it publicly, I think because of old age. There was a time he met with the MPs, he was giving them money, and he said, if the public discovers, we deny. That time, that is the training he was giving MPs. Now he didn't even allow them to deny. He was giving it like an old man in full view of camera. But Parliament, it undermines Parliament. I remember when we were swearing in either the 10th, one of the things that troubled me with the Honorable Namboze was how the country views MPs. Because we arrive at Parliament, and the stalls that are available are for banks to lend money, not bookshops to read. But the whole Parliament is littered with tents. If you want a loan in 1 hour, come here. If you want a... And Namboze and I said, here, this is how we understood. This is how we understood by the public. And I said, how? Who allowed these banks to come here?
So what kind of perception was created when the president came out
going to Parliament,
to bankroll them?
Going to Parliament is about money. Welcome. Fono 100 million is here. So all of you guys, we can feast. So he's welcoming them. And I don't know, because you don't have to do it, even if you have to bail out MPs, must you do it that way? Then they're swearing in, I've told you, maybe they will stop them now. There will be banks in the Parliament processing loans. So they have made the whole project of Parliament look like a cash bonanza every day, chasing...
do you care about the public perception of MPs?
No, let me first go back to make some quick response. My brother, Honorable Akena, says he has never... First of all, Akena has never had any confidence in NRM, except when it serves his personal, immediate personal, his family interest. Then he will appreciate what NRM gives him. And you had him. He said, the corporation, he knows one person, one minister. We all know, of course, that one minister takes the government packs, the fruits of the corporation, to his house and to their children. So that shouldn't surprise us. But if the NRM policies were not working and strategies were not working, Uganda wouldn't be what it is today. And what is Uganda today? Uganda is more stable, more tranquil. It has expanded in every way you may think of. Where the roads, they have expanded. Schools are many. Education institutions, let me say so. Health services by government and private have expanded. Even equality, but it's not sufficient. Why? Because we have not been able to raise the level of productivity, profitability, and therefore revenue to match the cumulative defects Our trajectory as a country today, we were told by the Secretary to the Treasury, Dr. Ramadan Govi, because he was among the experts who gave us pointers to where the direction, the state of the economy of Uganda, and he said, there's a think tank at Harvard University in the US that tracks 148 countries, and last month or the other one, it released its findings that Uganda is on the world stage is among the 10 countries that are going to make tenfold growth. I'm not sure if Harvard think tank can tell a lie, but they put issues that Uganda must deal with. One of which, to focus more on road, focus on energy, focus on ICT, focus on continuous stability, and sharpening the human resource. If we do those 4 or 5 things, according to those people, Uganda will grow exponentially. Now,
well, we've always been listed in many ways as a progressive country.
You know very well that we have now entered the middle income lower. No. You just don't enter there. I'm surprised, the Honorable Assembly, that you have spent 15 years in Parliament and you don't know that there are international standards and international bodies that give you credit, and you can cross-reference whether what you think you are, indeed you are, using their benchmarks. So, the NRM policies haven't failed as Honorable Akena would want the world to see. Because if we had done so, we would not be having close to 10 million children in school at the different stages. Our human resource, the children who are graduating out of medical school today, are still as marketable as they were in the 60s, in the 70s. The only issue is today we are graduating many more people than our own, than before, but also than our own capacity can absorb. And so, in that reference, Chankwanzi is a good place for us to reflect. We were told by the clerk to Parliament.
There's public perception about
No, I'm coming. The clerk to Parliament told us that overall, 58% of members of Parliament didn't make it back. The ones in the 11th Parliament, include the ones who failed the elections. Now, leave the ones who opted not to stand. They were eyeing bigger things and it missed them. In NRM, out of 365, only 156, I think, returned. Meaning that a bigger group of the NRM MPs who were in Chankwanzi and the independents now allied to us are overwhelming the ones the old ones. It therefore becomes necessary to have some form of interface, regardless whether you think that those MPs have no capacity to absorb. But I want to believe that any exposure helps somebody improve. I don't think Honorable Siwabulijjo, my former newspaper man, with me, has remained the same, a newsman, just writing what Ken Richards was saying, you know. Siwabulijjo now is among the top-notch members of Parliament. Yes, so Honorable Siwabulijjo, you have improved. I don't think you have remained the same. So I don't even understand why you think that a councillor cannot raise. In other case, some of those councillors have the same academic qualification.
Okay. At one moment, you were a tutor at Chankwanzi.
Yes, and
today you were in the room.
Yeah, it is good for a professor to come to a discussion, a seminar, and just pays attention, like what the Honorable Dombo was telling you. I teach in Chankwanzi up to now, but in this retreat, I was called as a student. I listened, and I can tell you, I did not go to the podium to ask questions, but I was taking notes.
Yeah, but is there anything to get you rolling in the
yes,
next?
Yes, I told you that there are many things also I didn't know. Because when you listen to people, different people, you cannot say you're the only one who knows. For example, I had never met those many members of parliament, and being part of them, it has taught me something. That, for example, you need to show humility. I was meeting a 24-year-old medical student, medical professor, Dr. Lakisa from Lebtong. 24-year-old, she has just come out of, she's a dentist. She has just come out of school. She's now there. I met another one from Vura, a young girl of 24, who took on 8 men and defeated them. Now, you sit with them and you get to understand what drove them. When I was entering politics, I wasn't 24, I was a little older. Now, you get to understand what drove these many young people to national politics.
How shameful was it watching your colleagues making personal pleas to the president?
That's what you expect. For example, getting to know what drives an 84-year-old person who has lived it. Professor Kamuntu. Professor Kamuntu ran for member of parliament in 1980. He was the minister, ambassador plenipotentiary. Returning, since NRM came, I think he came in 1996, 2005. He has been in parliament, has been minister in many decades. He lost election 5 years ago, comes back. Dr. Kiyonga lost the election 10 years ago. This was the only MP who was elected on the UPDM ticket, although he didn't take his seat, 1980. He has been a member of parliament and minister since 1986. He lost election and still has the courage, the drive to come back to run for member of parliament. He's the chancellor of Makerere University. It is nice to see, to sit with him and see what drives, to study his inner person, what drives him, and the perspective of different people. So yes, I'm a lecturer there, I teach there, but you get to learn. But most important, really, what Dombo said, that it was a good thing for us. It is important for us just to know who is this person. In my case, who is well known across the country. Many people will come and say, I have just been watching you on TV. In my village there in Maracha, we are just watching you on TV. So you are the one. I want to touch your hand. You know, things like those is part of the things that give us the bonding. And that bonding is part of the cohesion, is part of the ideological mentoring, is part of, listen, is part of the strategy. I need to bring in, it's part of the strategy. Yes. Because NRM was there for those 3 things.
Thank you. Honorable Dombo. Yes. I saw a bit of a contradiction. Here is the president telling MPs to avoid loan sharks, to avoid corruption, and then he doles out 100 million to every MP. That has widely been described as a bribe to MPs.
Bribe to do what?
To tow his path.
You know, take it or leave it. President Museveni is the chief executive of this country. And he's in charge of the internal resources. And some people who don't know him, when we first interacted with President Museveni about the indebtedness of members of parliament, I was a commissioner in parliament. And at that time, members had borrowed money at variable interest rates. At that time, we had not even negotiated with banks to fix. Now banks have got a fixed rate when they are lending members of parliament. And the rates varied to above 30%. And the money that was being deducted from members of parliament was a lot of money. So somebody, an investor in quotes, came and said, made a proposition he wanted to buy the loans of the members of parliament so that he services them over a period of time. And we had a discussion in the commission under the chairperson of the Right Honorable Kadaga, until we said, but even when this sounds very attractive, we chose to share it with His Excellency the President. We thought it would be very unpatriotic to enter into such a deal with a foreigner when the head of state doesn't know, because it may have security ramifications. And indeed, when we discussed with the President, he rubbished it right away. He actually quoted a Kinyankole proverb, which says that you cannot borrow a neighbor's hand to clean your bums when you go to poo-poo. That's the proverb he told us. Oh. He said, now if a foreigner bails members of parliament out, to whom will they pay allegiance? And what will it be for the country? And
so was the president purchasing allegiance this time?
No. I just want to give you this background to show that he's a man who understands what is happening. He's already aware that banks have started offering members of parliament. There could have been members of parliament who have even picked already some money from the banks and was saying, watch out, don't do this. He was very specific on the instructions he gave. He wouldn't wish to see them going back to him, that they don't have money, they have just come out of elections, and they have challenges. When I was commissioner, they already...
So ideally, wouldn't that be done pro rata? Wouldn't it be prudent?
That's what I'm telling you, that when I was commissioner, we did it for all members of parliament. And I was very disappointed when Honorable Afula Ogutu, the following day after I came from Chankwanzi, he called a press conference and said his members of parliament from the opposition, because it was the law, were not going to sign for that money. And they rebelled, most of them. They went and picked the money because they were equally hardened up. And to me, I was very disappointed. Actually, I met him and said, when we negotiated and requested the president's intervention, we talked for the entire parliament, because the commission is a commission for the whole parliament. Now, when the president accepted, the opposition chose to behave the way they did. The president is available, and if there is an opportunity that he can use part of the public resources to save the image of the people who are going to be in charge of the affairs of this country, so be it, because he has done it in the religious institutions, he has done it with the political parties. Actually, this money you see political parties receiving, the president told us he went to a church in Ikazo, and he saw members making offertory, and he said religious institutions are bad law. We must begin supporting religious institutions and local political parties so that we tame the ideology.
Honorable Dombo, 100 million times 390 MPs?
Simon, ask a member of parliament here, how much money does he get? You are talking about the 20 million.
Quick math. Honorable,
you are talking,
how much would that be?
Just a moment, Simon.
That's about 40 billion.
40 billion.
Simon, you are talking about 20 million, which the members of parliament have already received. Because I saw them receiving the 20 million.
No, it's 100 million.
It is 20 million which the president has paid. And he said he will add them 80 when the money becomes
for swearing in.
When he gets the money. So the 20 million, that money has been paid. Each of these members of parliament earns more than 40 billion a month. So you are talking about it has been proven, I've been to parliament, and they have made revisions. Such members of parliament who are earning more than 40 million shillings
Honorable Dom,
a month. Now you want to talk about
40 billion shillings.
You are talking about 20 million.
As token for MPs.
No, see, Dombo
yes.
makes even the matter worse. You're saying they are earning 40 million. Why do you give them another 100? If you're already paying them very well.
Because those ones who are being paid is you who is getting out. These are new members of parliament. They have not been sworn in. They are already in debt.
Next month.
And the gesture of the president, it will be next month.
Yes.
But he gave them before, and they are not earning anything. And that is what the president said. Would that be a problem?
What's the rationale again for this money?
The president. Simon, you are talking as if you are breaking news. The president was live on 10 televisions in the country and radio stations, which he had paid for. Live broadcast. And secondly, he had hosted members of parliament who had, through their interactions throughout the retreat, but also through experience at the head of state, had observed that these members of parliament enter into debt because of the challenges that they go through. In order to try and prevent that, the president said, in order to enable you to go and arrange proper swearing-in ceremony, let me make a contribution. And he announced
I think that's a bit scandalous.
But,
and he announced it. How scandalous is it?
I mean,
see, Dombo,
40 billion of taxpayers' money is going into lavish expenditure for MPs to cater for their swearing in.
Because the money they voted for it. To do exactly that
no,
in
no,
members
no,
of
no.
parliament.
That money, nobody voted for it.
Why?
It is not there.
No, it's